Hey guys, Dinobot. Just gonna go ahead and go over my gear with you guys today. I'll start with the weapon. Picked this weapon up 2-3 weeks ago for 8 million gold. It's about what it's worth. The main reason I got it is I needed a bunch of vitality, and this weapon filled that void that I had. I'd also put in a 300 life on hit gem. Over the next couple days, I'll be upgrading that gem to a 600 life on hit gem. Or if I can find another weapon that has both a decent amount of vitality and some base life on hit, I'll be getting that. But those weapons are not cheap, so I doubt I'll be upgrading it at least for another week. Most of my gear follows the same stats. I'm going to go for all resist, vitality, and intelligence, and life regen. If you can get life on hit, great, but life regen is almost as good. Another thing you can look for is if I could get, say, 15% attack speed instead of that gold from monsters, I'd get that. But again, those items are going to be phenomenally expensive, and it's going to take me a while to slowly replace each piece. As far as the shield goes, you want something with high block and high block amount. If you can get other stats on it, such as this one with all resist, bonus armor, life regen, and intelligence, that's great. Ideally, instead of the strength, this would have vitality and possibly a percent life modifier, but I needed something quickly. I wanted to upgrade from my ivory tower, which was 15% to 28%, so I went and dropped about 4 or 5 million on this shield, which is pretty standard for something like it. It's almost equivalent to a storm shield, so it was a good buy. Ring, same thing. Intelligence, vitality, and all resist. Pants are the same way. Ideally, if you can get physical resistance on a piece of gear with all resistance, that's not a bad roll. That's a pretty good stat as well. So if you can get both resistance to all and physical resistance, that's not a bad roll to get that. For your belt, get something with life regen, all resist, and percent life. Belts can have some pretty good percent life. I think 8% might be the highest. I might have seen a 9 out there, but anything past 8 is probably going to be phenomenally expensive, but I don't think I've seen too many. Bracers are partly one of my weaker item slots right now. It doesn't have any vitality on it. It's an amazing bracer with 179 in on it, but it would be so much better if I could have vitality on there instead of the dex or the strength. Eventually I'll be upgrading those bracers to something with all resist, if I can, attack speed, but I need to get a little bit more stam on there, but for now they'll do. Gloves, again, nothing different here. Vitality, int, life regen, resist. High armor. Armor is something to look for on items. If you can get a decent amount on them, you need to get your armor as high as you can. The chest piece is it's a good chest piece. It's very simple. I would like to get something with more intelligence on it, and I eventually will. So my bracers and chest piece will be my next upgrades. Next piece, a streamer gave this to me for a pretty sweet deal. I think it'll probably be a while before I replace it. It's just rolled so well, it's kind of ridiculous. The only thing I could possibly improve on that neck is a little bit more life on hit and attack speed instead of the health globe, but it is an amazing, amazing slot. For the shoulders, you want something with percent life if you can get it. Percent life is not a know-all end-all stat, but if you can get it in certain places and not give up anything for it, it's a good stat to get. Don't necessarily go out of your way to get it on every single slot. It's a good stat. The ring, I'd say this is kind of a required item for this build because of the percent block. I picked up the ring for about 4 million. These things are not cheap. There's a reason they're not cheap. It's a phenomenal ring. If you can afford one, you definitely want to aim to get one of these. The next item that I would say is required, helmet command. Need the percent block. I wouldn't get one without a socket. They're pretty cheap nowadays. I think you can get one with a socket in the 2 million range. The Real Money Auction House, I think I've seen one for $5, so they're not too expensive anymore, especially if you're looking for one along these similar stats. I paid, I think, 3 or 4 million a couple weeks ago for that item. That's all my items. I'm going to go ahead and go over the stats that I have. My resist average about 750 across the board. I've got a couple that are slightly under 750 at 718, and a couple more that are above 800. Eventually, I think I'm going to aim for 8 or 900. I don't think I'm going to go too much past that. It seems to be an appropriate amount right now. My life is right under 60k, 59,316. Got a life bonus 32%. Life per second is just over 1,000. My life per hit is really low at 532. That gem is going to push me to 832, and eventually I'd like to have at least 1,000, preferably 1,500. But again, I'm at a point where I need to increase DPS without losing any of these stats. So it's just going to be a gold grind to find gear that has the same stats of the stuff I have, only, for example, this ring, instead of the damage on it, I'd want something like IAS, and that's going to be a phenomenally expensive ring. Health globe, healing bonus, not really that important. If you can get mana and mana regen, cool, but on the items I have and the build that I have, it's not that beneficial. And my block percentage is at 47%. Dodge, if you can get it higher, cool. If not, 11% is a good spot to be at. It doesn't really matter. It's not worth getting a bunch of dexterity for dodge. You're better off getting better stats. So if you have any questions, let me know. And you guys have a great day.